Spain once spent €2 billion learning where a decimal point goes. Its brand new submarine, the most advanced machine in the country's naval history, turned out 75 tons too heavy, which meant it could dive exactly once. The error was traced to a single misplaced decimal point, typed by one engineer and approved by everyone who checked his work. And when they finally fixed it, the submarine no longer fit in its dock. Number 8. The lake that vanished. In 1980, a drilling crew on Lake Paynour in Louisiana made a mapping error of about 120 meters, and by dinner time, the lake was gone. Their drill had punched through the roof of a working salt mine directly underneath, and the lake began draining into it like a bathtub with the plug pulled. The quiet, 3-meter-deep fishing spot became the largest man-made whirlpool in American history. It swallowed the $5 million drilling platform, then 11 barges, then a tugboat, several trucks, a parking lot, and 65 acres of somebody's botanical garden. The canal that used to drain the lake reversed direction, briefly creating the tallest waterfall in Louisiana. All 55 miners underground got out, so did the fishermen on the surface, who rowed with commitment. 9 of the barges eventually popped back up like bath toys. Total human casualties 0. The bill after the lawsuits, about $45 million plus one lake which never really came back. It refilled with salt water. The drill was looking for oil. It found real estate. Number 7. The trains that didn't fit. In 2014, the French National Railway took delivery of nearly 2,000 brand new regional trains and discovered they were too wide for about 1,300 of its own station platforms. The railway had asked the network operator to measure the platforms. The operator helpfully sent back the dimensions of every platform built in the last 30 years. Most French stations are considerably older than 30 years. Nobody checked. The trains were already built, so France did the only thing left to do. It started shaving its train stations, grinding the platform edges back a few centimeters one station at a time so the new trains could squeeze past. The bill for the sanding, about €50 million. A railway spokesman admitted with impressive calm that the problem had been discovered. A bit late. If you enjoy watching professionals measure things exactly once, subscribing is the least amount of effort you could put in, and it costs nothing to trim. Number 6. The most expensive hyphen. In 1962, NASA launched Mariner 1, America's first mission to another planet, for 293 seconds. The rocket drifted off course, threatening to come down in the North Atlantic shipping lanes, so the range safety officer pressed the button that turns $18.5 million into confetti. The investigation worked its way down to the guidance equations, and found that somewhere between a mathematician's handwriting and the machine that read it, a single stroke of the pen, one small horizontal line above a symbol, had been left out. Without it, the computer treated perfectly normal speed readings as emergencies and steered hard again and again to fix problems that did not exist. The writer Arthur C. Clarke called it the most expensive hyphen in history, in today's money. That hyphen runs to about $180 million. NASA found the missing line, put it back, and launched an identical spacecraft 5 weeks later. That one made it all the way to Venus, powered by punctuation that had this time been proofread. Number 5. The spacecraft that spoke 2 languages. In 1999, NASA's Mars Climate Orbiter arrived at Mars after a flawless journey of 660 million kilometers, and immediately disintegrated because 2 teams of world-class engineers had never agreed on what a number meant. NASA's navigation software worked in metric units. The contractor's software, which reported the thruster burns, spoke imperial, pounds of force. Neither side converted, so every tiny course correction for 9 straight months was silently wrong in the same direction. The spacecraft was supposed to pass more than 200 kilometers above the planet. It came in at 57, which on Mars is not an orbit. Its weather, the mission cost $327 million, and the review board's conclusion remains one of the great sentences in engineering. The units were never converted, by anyone, at any point, in 9 months. The metric system has been called humanity's greatest agreement. This is what happens when one guy doesn't sign it. Number 4. The fattest finger in finance. In 2005, a trader at Mizuho Securities, one of Japan's biggest financial firms, meant to sell 1 share of a small company at 610,000 yen. Instead, he typed an order to sell 610,000 shares, at 1 yen each. That was about 40 times more shares than the company had ever issued. Shares he was selling for 1 yen were worth 610,000. The system noticed and showed him a warning asking if he was sure. He was sure. He clicked through it. The firm spotted the error within minutes and tried to cancel, and discovered that the stock exchange's cancellation system simply Didn't work. The order stood. Rival traders, smelling blood in the water, bought everything the mistake was selling. The bill came to about $340 million. The head of the Tokyo Stock Exchange resigned, and the court spent years deciding which broken system owed what to the other. The keyboard, for the record, performed flawlessly. Both fields did exactly what was typed into them. Number 3. The perfect mirror. In 1990, NASA launched the Hubble Space Telescope, carrying the most precisely shaped mirror human beings had ever made, polished for years to a smoothness measured in millionths of a millimeter. The first pictures came back blurry. The mirror, it turned out, was indeed perfect. Perfectly wrong. During manufacturing, the instrument used to test the mirror's curve had been assembled with one lens out of position by 1.3 millimeters. The technicians then polished the mirror flawlessly to match the faulty test. Two cheaper instruments disagreed and said so repeatedly, and were overruled on the logic that the expensive instrument couldn't be the wrong one for 3 years. The world's most famous telescope orbited the Earth as a late-night comedy punchline. Then in 1993, astronauts flew up and fitted it with corrective optics, a $700 million pair of glasses. It worked. Hubble went on to become the most beloved scientific instrument in history, which makes this the only entry on the list where humanity paid the bill and eventually got a refund. Number 2. The most expensive checkbox. In 2020, Citibank meant to send about $8 million of interest payments to the lenders of the cosmetics company Revlon. Instead, it accidentally paid off the entire loan, $893 million, out of its own pocket because the transfer software required 3 boxes to be ticked and the operator ticked 1. The payment then went through the bank's safety net, a manual review. 3 separate employees looked at it. All 3 approved it. The bank noticed the next morning and politely asked for the money back, and some of the lenders said no, and here is where it stops being a typo and becomes a masterpiece. A federal judge initially agreed with them, ruling that $500 million accidental dollars could legally be kept because the bank's own paperwork made the mistake look intentional. It took Citibank an appeals court and 2 years to claw the money back. Regulators, meanwhile, fined the bank $400 million over its internal controls, which means the checkbox billed them twice. Number 1. The submarine that couldn't come back. In 2013, Spain was building 4 new submarines, the most ambitious naval project in its history, when engineers noticed the first one had come out about 75 tons too heavy. Now, a submarine that heavy can still dive, that was the problem. It just doesn't come back up. The flaw was traced to a single decimal point, sitting in the wrong place in one weight calculation. One typed digit quietly multiplying part of the boat by 10, and then copied unquestioned through years of blueprints. A former official summarized the process with total honesty. Someone made a mistake and everyone else checked it wrong. The rescue plan was to stretch the submarine by 10 meters to spread the weight. That worked. It made it too long for its dock, so Spain had to rebuild the dock as well. The program limped in years late and nearly €2 billion over budget, and the first boat finally entered service in 2023. It floats, it dives, it surfaces, in that order. Last video was about laws that backfired, but it's worth noting that no law required any of this. Engineers volunteered. One last thing, every disaster in this video started with one small mistake that nobody double-checked. So before you go, check that you've pressed subscribe, then check it again. We run a 2-check system here. Pressing like also costs exactly $0, which makes it the only number in this entire video with no consequences. Thanks for watching.